Where are you from? One of the first questions that we asked or get asked whenever we meet someone new. As I came to Morocco on Friday, I had the opportunity to watch a World Cup tournament between Morocco and Scotland with some of my oldest friends, and we won, which was so amazing. And it got me really thinking about the concept of home and how it relates to events like the World Cup. People celebrating a global tournament while also having so much pride in their own nation. And while many are able to travel, to get the visas, or to have strong passports, to have the funds necessary to pay for the tickets to access these stadiums, other people are being denied entry into those same host countries, especially the United States of America, considering its war on immigrants and deciding who's allowed and who's not just based on citizenship. So, as I started to think and link all of these events with my personal stories, but also with the system, I think that this episode is going to be interesting. It's going to be all about home power and why where are you from was never just a small talk. And as we see that some have access to these stadiums by design and not by chance, and others get borders, I think that we should question that. Where are you from? People want a one word answer, and most people give the short answer and just keep things moving. But I stopped giving that short answer because I think it matters beyond our own biographies. I think it's a way to resist the system because the system decides whose movement gets celebrated and who gets criminalized. As fans and family members are traveling for the World Cup to the United States, Mexico, or even Canada, we've seen many denied entry to the United States. As much as this tournament is selling us unity and global connection, it's still operating inside a system that decides, country by country, who gets to physically show up. I studied forced migration and refugee protection, and this term that kept coming was visa apartheid. Free movement for some passport, but not so for many. And there's always obstacles. You need to prove that you have enough money and that you'll go back to your home country. And even when you move to another country as an immigrant, you're constantly asked to prove for your humanity. I've moved toward the West mainly most of my life because we want better mobility. And throughout this process, I've watched how my passport does not open the same doors as someone who has a Western passport. I've had to say no to opportunities. I wasn't able to access opportunities because of where I was born. And it has nothing to do with my competences, my professional achievements. Borders, nationality, citizenship are all recent inventions. They were built to feel normal so that nobody questions them. It was not always there, and it was built by the West. That means that it can be questioned and that it should be questioned even more than what we're watching right now. As I was in the UN system within the past 10 years, I've attended so many conferences and events in New York, and I've seen this exact same dynamic playing. Visa getting denied, affecting which experts and communities get to be in the room for decisions about their own countries. Most people able to attend these high-level conferences, either they have a strong passport from the West for the majority of them, or they really hustle and struggle to be able to get there. They go through visa appointment, they go through rejections sometimes, or they go through this dehumanizing process where you have to constantly prove who you are and if you're worthy enough to just access their country. Sometimes you even have events or conferences about, let's say, like African development, where African experts are invited to talk about their lived experience and expertise, but then they can get the visas. Well, the global north, they can move freely. So that's the same architecture as the IMF, World Bank, UN, except that now it's through the lens of literal physical movement. And good intentions don't override architecture. Even people working inside the system, they want to help, but they're constrained by it. There's nothing they can do about it. I can't tell you how many times people complain to the United Nations, including the Secretary General, and they always say, it's beyond us. We don't have control over immigration of every country. Anyway, so this entire thing got me thinking about the concept of home. What is home? For me, I was born in Morocco, raised in Dubai. When I came back to Morocco, I was in the French educational system, which was literally erasure of my own history, my culture, my identity, my language. I learned more about French history and language than any other. So it's a way that former colonizers are still holding power and influence over you without necessarily realizing, because we always assumed that the West, the French, everything is better. When I got sick, I was 14. I had a kidney failure. I had to go to France to get treated because Morocco was not able to treat me. So we always go to them because we assume and we were taught to think and believe that they are better. And they are in many aspects because they have exploited resources mainly from the African continent. Then I did my studies in France. I didn't like it. I left. I moved to Spain, did my studies there, loved it. Then moved to Costa Rica for my master's, one of the best years ever. Moved to the US, worked, hustled, hustle culture. I survived. I didn't live. And then I moved to Puerto Rico, which was literally like the first place I felt so safe and accepted and welcomed. And I felt like I was one of their own. I felt like I was Boricua. The first day I arrived to Puerto Rico, I go to the beach, I sit, I close my eyes, I start meditating, breathing, and I start crying. Then I learned about the history, the shared history that we have. Puerto Ricans were also colonized by Spain, Morocco as well. And of course, during the Atlantic slave trade, many people were brought from West Africa. And many were also brought from the Canary Islands, which are very close to North African indigenous people, the 𝐏𝐻𝐸 people. And it all made sense. We're so connected more than we think. And it truly made me want to learn more about my own roots. My grandfather was from Mauritania, so I started learning about the Zawiya lineage. My grandma is Amazigh from 𝐏𝐸. I had to look into this and decolonize my mind from the French educational system and get so much pride from being Amazigh, having Mauritanian roots. It was not handed to me. I had to learn it on my own after so much work on myself and unlearning, more than even learning, I would say. I didn't go to Morocco for 8 years for many reasons. Mobility restrictions, exile, threats. The first time I went back was in summer 2025, so last year. And I was really impressed by a lot of great development, but I couldn't help but have this feeling of feeling foreign, feeling like an outsider, feeling judged, feeling watched, and feeling like I needed to be smaller than I was so that I could fit in. I arrived at this place that was told to be mine forever. That is my indigenous land. It called me back and I came back, but it did not recognize me back in return. So for me, home is not fixed. It's something that can evolve with time. Home doesn't have to be one thing forever. Of course, it can be a country, a person, a feeling, a practice, or nothing external at all. And this can change across your life. So for me, home is myself, and home is also all of the places I've lived in, because I truly feel that I left pieces of myself while also taking so much with me. So for you, home can be people, or it could be also a practice, a morning routine, something portable that you can travel with you so that it make you feel like home. It could be objects, it could be scents. But at the end of the day, home is Earth. We all belong to the same planet. Borders are a human construct. Citizenship is a human construct. Earth is the one thing none of us had to earn or get approved for. So for me, home is not one single country. It's not even one single place. It's whatever you decide it is, and it's allowed to change with time. And stepping into your power, it means that once you see borders and even home as constructed, you stop being controlled by panic and about fitting in a box, because it's all about labels at the end of the day, to weigh, to divide us, to control us, to conquer. So if you want to be strategic inside the system while seeing through it, passports and visas are tools you can use deliberately. If you have that privilege, use it. If not, work towards it. Seeing the system clearly does not mean refusing to use it to your advantage, but it means using it on purpose. I decided to move to Portugal because I want that safety net of not having to struggle so much for immigration, for papers, for visas. It's a never ending story. You have three options when it comes to navigating the system. You can organize, you find your people, you build your own thing outside of the system and you pressure. Or you can infiltrate and disrupt from inside. Lastly, you can build from outside. Don't rely on the system, you do your own thing, period. And this also applies to identity and movement, not just institutions. I want to leave you with something to sit with. Number one, if you couldn't answer where you're from with the country, what would you actually say instead? Number two, has your concept of home ever shifted from a place to a person to something inside yourself? And if yes, what caused that shift? Number three, where in your life are you still asking permission to simply exist the way borders ask people to ask permission to move? Number four, if home can be a feeling, a person, a practice instead of a place, what's the one portable thing that would make anywhere feel like home to you? Write down in the comments what's your answer. Let's talk about it. And as people are celebrating a global game like the World Cup, while others are denied entry to it just on the basis of where they're born, even though this so-called tournament is all about uniting us, that's the world that is currently built. And it doesn't have to stay that way. And it doesn't have to define what home means to you. I wrote a Substack essay on what is home to me. I invite you all to read it. At the end of the day, we are a free earth. The system divided it to conquer it. Home is you. Home is each other. Home is wherever you decide it is. And on that note, more power to you.